So we should probably talk about this while we have the opportunity before we start playing COD Zombies. I spent all of last night watching the first half of the secret level episode. It's the first 8. I think there's either 16 or 18 total. And so I think this is the first half. It'll be 8 then 7. Gotcha, so there's 15 total. It goes in order: Dungeons and Dragons, Sifu, New World, Unreal Tournament, Warhammer, Pac-Man, Crossfire, and Armored Core. And with the exception of Crossfire, I think they get better as they go on. But I feel like there's one of them that is going to be the big outlier, and that was Pac-Man. The first one was Dungeons and Dragons. It was perfectly okay, because as we may or may not know, this is being made by the people who did Love, Death, and Robots. And if you've seen Love, Death, and Robots, you may know that it is an anthology of various types of studios making their own animated works, roughly around 20 minutes or less. Like with Love, Death, and Robots, some of them are ass, some of them are mid as hell, and some of them are peak cinema. I've always said my favorite Love, Death, and Robots one is Crab Boat. It's always Crab Boat, Crab Boat, Crab Boat, best one. Crab Boat, so good. Starting here, Dungeons and Dragons was the first one. It was totally mid. It was fine. It was basically a advertisement to buy a creature compendium for Dungeons and Dragons. It was completely fine. Second one was Sifu. Sifu was great. Sifu was not long enough, unfortunately, but it made for some absolutely fantastic visuals. The fight choreography was really, really good, though it was, and I'm going to say this a lot, not long enough. Whoever did the art style for it was awesome. The animation in particular was like, oh, damn, that's really cool looking. That's really, really cool looking. Made me want dumplings too. New World is my least favorite. New World is the comedic episode, and it stars Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not like unfunny. There is comedy there, and I had a couple like blow out my nose exhales. I had a few like, the problem for me was that the script wasn't very good, and Arnold's voice acting, I'll just be perfectly honest, is not very good. He is very tonally inconsistent. His voice acting is just not that good, and it makes it not good because he's the main character. It's kind of funny. It has its moments, but it's not very good in general, and it's probably my least favorite. Episode 4 was Unreal Tournament. Don't know where this came from, okay? But it was actually fucking peak. I was shocked at how good it was. They just took all of the stuff from Unreal Tournament. They took all of the weirdness and all of the like the level designs and the weapons from, and they just turned it into like, you know, the Unreal Tournament murderous game show, and it was actually awesome. It was like really, really good. All of the cool Unreal Tournament stuff is just there. It's not like, whoa, look, it's the flak gun. Ooh, no, they just like, that's where it is. There it is. Go. It's weirdly great. I don't know why it was so good. It's my second favorite. Number 5 is Warhammer 40K, and They Shall Know No Fear. Okay, so here's the issue, is that a lot of you probably won't believe me when I say it's the best one, because you're probably going to be like, Bricky. Bricky likes the Warhammer one the most. Okay. It's the best one, I'd honestly say. It is done by the same guy who did Astartes and that crew. And it's super obvious. There's almost no dialogue. There's dialogue in the beginning and dialogue at the end. And there's almost no dialogue at all. It is the Astartes guy, 100%. And it is them murdering the absolute hell out of everything. Should I just show you guys? It's a clip. That's not the best part of it by far. The best part of it is the ending, because I mean, it seems like some of you haven't watched it, I'm sorry, but like there's a lot of Tzeentch in it, and you get to see Tzeentchian sorcery and Tzeentchian like visions on the Astartes, and like all kinds of like weird sorcerer shit. It's actually a horror film, honestly. It's disgustingly terrifying. It's great. A lot of people disagreed with my feelings on the story in Space Marine 2. Totally fine. It's a fucking video game. Who gives a shit? But one of my biggest things was I'm cool with it being bolter porn. But if you're going to make a bolter porn, don't add like an attempt at like a more grandiose story. That was my issue with it. With this secret level thing, it's pure bolter porn, but it knows it's pure bolter porn. It treats itself as pure bolter porn, and it has like almost no audible dialogue. And it's just like, bam, here it is. Here's a 15-minute brutal action scene, giant bunch of murder. And here is terrifying Zinchian crap. I loved it. That's my personal thoughts on the matter. Genuinely, it is the best one. I know I'm constantly like, it's the Warhammer one. It's the best one. I swear I think it's the best one. If you don't think it's the best one, that's fine. But like, I'd be shocked if it's not your top 3. Episode 6 was Pac-Man. Pac-Man. Let me tell you about Pac-Man, dude. They took some dude who they pulled out of a psych ward, and they were like, hey man, here's like 40 milligrams of LSD. What do you think about Pac-Man? They took down his notes during his epileptic tripping fucking fit, and they peeped the horror. Whoever wrote Pac-Man needs to be institutionalized, but a good version. Put him like one of those Norway prisons where you can kind of like have like amenities and stuff. It was one of the shorter ones. A lot of people say they hate it. I think it's incredible. It was so brutal and violent and terrifying that it turned around to being farcical. It was the fact that they played it so, so straight and so weird that it went around to me being like, I love this. I absolutely love it. That's my number 3, personally. Number 7 was Crossfire. I don't know about Crossfire. I feel like I would have given a shit about Crossfire if I played it in 2007 when that was a big game. It's pretty boring. It's like, it's animated really well. Like the guns and the combat looks really good. Like it's clearly pretty, but there's not really any substance. So that was kind of it. I didn't really think it was that interesting personally. Crossfire was okay. That's like my second least favorite. Maybe between like Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like iffy between the two of them. It's like, it looks good. It's pretty, but that's really it. Armored Core. Okay. Armored Core. Here's the thing about Armored Core. Is it cinema? Kind of, yes. It was really cool looking. And personally, I think it gave us a shitload of more world building. You never really see the pilots outside of their stuff in Armored Core, basically ever. And so you got to see a bit more of the dystopian weirdness of Armored Core. It was cool. ACs moved like ACs do. They were fast, they were crazy, they were scary. The dystopian visuals were awesome. But it was like, I think 9 minutes long. It was way too short. Warhammer is 18 minutes long, but after you take into account credits, opening and closing, it's more like 15 minutes long. Armored Core, I think, is like 9 when you take account for credits. It didn't give me much that I didn't get from the Armored Core trailers. Like, you know, the Armored Core launch trailer where they're going up against the Cataphract, and it's like the story trailer, and it kind of cuts between 621 and like the body in the bag. I felt like it had a similar graphical quality to that specific thing. And then I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Like, it looks really pretty. It's cool Armored Core stuff, but I wanted a bit more Keanu shenanigans. Also, I want to know who the voice in his head is because their voice is very attractive. I liked it. I'd probably put it at number 4, but it needed more. It really needed more. I love how that Keanu's thing is literally just, I have a woman in my head that calls me Stud Muffin. That was actually what that episode was. The VA is the Femme Cyberpunk pro tag. Courtney something or another? I don't remember. Tier list. Tier list goes like this. Warhammer, number 1. Unreal Tournament. I can't believe it's that good. Number 2. Pac-Man. Number 3. I just like it, man. It was so weird. I like weird shit. Armored Core, number 4. Though in fairness, they can kind of, Armored Core and Pac-Man can kind of like flip-flop between 3 and 4. 5 is Sifu, probably. And then most likely D&D, Crossfire, they can kind of swap, and then New World. So far, so good. But unfortunately for us, the #1 best episode, Concord, is not out yet. So when Concord comes out, oh yeah, then we're going to change it up real quick. Female V is voiced by Cherami Lay. Cherami? Well, I don't see her in anything Secret Labs related, so I don't know. Regardless, yeah, no, so far so good. I like Secret Level so far. I'm curious, man. It's pretty good so far. I like it. I think it's good. They're not all good. It's just like Love, Death, and the Robots. There's a couple great ones, a couple ass ones, and a couple mid ones. But what's great is that they're all 15 minutes, give or take. So you can just watch them, and it's not much of a time commitment, you know? You can just kind of just go through it.